Do you want to build an aesthetic and attractive physique as a teenager so you can look like a Greek statue? Well, I've done it by 15 years old, and in this video I want to show you exactly how I did it. Just 3 years ago, I felt insecure about my physique, so I committed to building a lean and aesthetic body I could be proud of. If you aren't happy with how you look, whether you're skinny, fat or anything in between, then this video is for you, because I'm going to be going through the exact advice that helped me transform my physique so you can too. No bullshit. So if you want to transform your physique, make sure to watch to the end, otherwise you may miss my 4 secrets that will separate you from the average schmuck with dumbbells. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing I'll talk about in today's video is what makes an aesthetic physique and how to build one. The key to an aesthetic physique is a V-taper. A V-taper is when your shoulders are wider than your waist, making you look like a Dorito and giving you that V-like shape, hence the name. This is an extremely important part of an aesthetic physique and can make someone look more attractive instantly. The ideal ratio for a V-taper is when your shoulders are 1.6 times wider than your waist. Sadly, you can't shrink your waist, so in order to get a V-taper, you have to become more broad. The first muscle we need to train to become more broad is the side delts. Think of your side delts as the frame of a picture. Without them, the whole thing just looks flat and unfinished. You could have an amazing build, but without those capped shoulders, your physique just doesn't pop. So doing lateral raises is the best way to grow your side delts. Specifically, I like cable lateral raises because they offer a lot more support and they minimize swinging compared to dumbbells. The next muscle we need to train is the chest, specifically the upper chest. This is usually the weakest part of most people's physiques because people usually just do flat bench press for their chest, and as a result we get this flabby breast-like look, which is really unappealing. To counter this, we need to do an incline press. Machine, dumbbell or barbell, it doesn't matter. Just make sure to do an incline press and I promise you'll be ahead of 90% of gym goers. The next muscle we need to train to get that V-taper is the back. This is the bread and butter of a V-taper. Think of your back like the wings of a jet. They make you look wider and they're the foundations of a V-taper. Pull-ups and lat pull-downs are an amazing way to grow your back and make it wider, but what people don't understand is that that's only half of it. You also need to do some sort of roll to build up that thickness. My favourite is cable rolls, but you can also do dumbbell rolls. The reason why these are so important is because it gives your back that 3D look. Now that we've covered how to get a V-taper and how to become more broad, let's move on to the abs. This is arguably the most attractive part of a physique for people who don't go to the gym and is like a universal symbol of discipline and athleticism. But no matter how hard you train them, if you're not lean enough they won't show. But you can still train your abs so when they do show, they pop out more and look toned and thick. You only need 2 types of exercises for the abs, one crunch movement and one leg raise. For the crunch movement, you can do cable crunches for easy overloading, or you can do bodyweight setups. For the leg raise movement, you can do hanging leg raises or leg raises lying on the ground. Now let's move on to the arms. Having big arms is so important for an aesthetic physique because not only are they visible when you have a t-shirt on, they are also one of the first things people notice about your physique. Most people think you only need to train your biceps, but to get truly thick arms you also need to train your triceps because they make up most of the size in your arm. So, do seated bicep curls to really stretch out your bicep and grow them, and do tricep pushdowns to target the medial and lateral head of your tricep, making your arms bigger. The forearm is another aesthetic part of your arm. Having underdeveloped forearms can give you a sleeper build, but as a result can make you look small in t-shirts. But on the other hand, having overdeveloped forearms can make you look really strong and can make your arm look more balanced. You don't need to directly train your forearm because it passively works when you do things like lat pull down and rows. This is because your forearm is responsible for your grip. A really underrated aesthetic muscle is the neck and traps. This is because a developed neck can make you look more masculine. A thick neck subconsciously signals power, athleticism and toughness. Think about rugby players and fighters who have thick necks. It's one of the body parts most associated with raw power and strength. Even in clothes, a thicker neck makes you look stronger and more dominant. Training neck is rare, especially for teens, so if you build up a big neck you will instantly stand out. And big traps really add to the thickness of the neck. To train your traps you need to do really heavy shrugs, and to train your neck you have to do head curls or head twists, which can be done at home or in the gym. Make sure to stretch your neck for at least 1 minute before training it, otherwise it could get easily injured. Make sure to never train your neck to failure because if you train it too hard you could injure it for weeks. And finally we have legs. These are an extremely important part of a balanced physique, but they're not priority for aesthetics because they're usually hidden underneath trousers. If you want to train them though, squats, calf raises, leg extensions and leg curls are the best exercises. Now that we've finished talking about what muscles you need to train for an aesthetic build and how to train them, let's move on to my 4 secrets that will put you ahead of most teenagers. Secret number 1 is training to failure. This is when the last rep of your set is extremely hard to do. This may seem obvious, but you'll be surprised about the amount of people I've seen not training as hard as they could in the gym, which is ultimately just leaving gains on the table. Secret number 2 is progressive overloading. This is when you increase the amount of reps or weight that you do each session, so your body is constantly under pressure to grow. If you aren't progressively overloading each time in the gym, there's no way to track if you're getting stronger and you'll most likely plateau. This is because your body isn't being forced to get stronger. And now for secret number 3, which is probably the most important advice I can give. Making sure you're eating enough food so your body can put on maximum muscle. I have made an excellent guide on how to bulk for teens like yourself, so make sure to watch that video afterwards because it contains knowledge that helped me put on 25 kg. And finally, for secret number 4, you need to have a workout routine or split. I really recommend push-pull legs, but other splits are equally as good depending on how many days you can train a week. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe because it really helps me out and I really appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.